311. Wait, are you in honors?
I'm in IHI,
Oh, okay.
but still, it's pretty brutal.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to take like PG 311.
No, it took Farm 300 instead of PHGY 311, and I heavily regret that decision.
You know what though? PG 311, the final like was so bad. So
Bioc 311 is a little tricky, but it's alright. It happens.
I think at one point I was like 18 lectures.
18.
Yeah.
They're like 39.
No, maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe it was like 18 total that I was behind. But I still managed. I like ended up doing fine on the final days. Like I do not know how this became.
Hey. Put the work in, reap the benefits. All right, we'll get started. All right. Good evening, everyone. Is this too loud? No. All right, we'll get started right now. So, first day of finals, huh? How are we feeling about the exam? Woo? Okay. All right. Thoughts?
I have no idea.
Depends on what you like, honestly. But I'd say fairly similar difficulties. Maybe a bit more difficult because you have to know more. Yeah. But all right, so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna do some polling questions and then try to make it interactive. So Lisa, the USCA for nerve synapse, is gonna start us off. And then we're just gonna go from there. I have the body fluids, blood later towards the end. So we're gonna focus more on the post-midterm stuff because that's heavily weighted. So let's get started with the first question. So I'm just gonna go here.
Yeah.
And hide results.
You saw nothing.
Well, hide answer as well. Knock yourselves out.
Okay, so we'll give you guys a few minutes, maybe a minute and a half to answer. You can discuss if you'd like.
Oh, my bad.
Gotcha.
There we go.
There you go. You can discuss if you'd like, but I'll close it in about a minute and a half.
Just give a user list. Yes. Oh, this thing? Okay. Let's
here.
just.
There you
Yeah.
go. Is that better? I did not even notice that was up.
Can we see if everything's good on the Zoom real quick?
Yeah.
Chat, no, nothing going on in the chat. All right, 81 answers.
Where can you see that?
Right there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, pretty solid.
will I get it to? Why is my internet bugging? Oh, McGill internet. All right. Once it gets up to around 100, like, I think we're good to go.
You want me to just close it
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Okay, last chance to get your answers in. I'll be closing the polling. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Okay, nice. So the majority of you got the right answer. Before I get into it, how do you guys feel about this section in general? Nerve synapse, pretty good. Bragg is a pretty good prop, right? Yeah. Okay, can somebody take me through the reasoning for this question? Just very brief, no pressure. Anyone?
Don't be shy, please.
No pressure, no one, there's no wrong answer. Only learning opportunities. Okay, well, I'll start us off then. So obviously for membrane potential, we know that ions are extremely important, which ions are especially important in this section that Redstone spoke of. Can anyone tell me? Perfect, okay. So which one is more permeable at rest, or which ion is more permeable at rest? Perfect, thank you. So yeah, we know that concentration gradients greatly affect our membrane potential at rest. So obviously, if you have a bigger gradient or a bigger gradient difference, that's going to change the way that the membrane potential functions. Generally, I'm pretty sure you just really need to know that at rest is minus 70 volts. So yeah. Okay, any questions about this one? No, all good? Okay, we'll go to the next one. Oh, wait, I have something in the chat. I can't see the chat.
I think the problem is when I share, let's see, I'm gonna stop sharing real quick. I'm gonna go here and then, can you repeat what this
Oh,
said?
yes. Okay, for those that are watching on Zoom, the two ions that we're, responsible for, I guess, is more so sodium and potassium, and the ion that is more permeable at rest is potassium.
So
yeah.
now I'm just gonna move this like down here. Let's see, share. I'm just gonna do desktop instead of the Google thing.
Sure.
And so then now we can see this, and I think you can see the chat too.
Okay. Okay, let's try this. So I'll give you guys a few minutes for this. Few more seconds. Okay. Again, good job, guys. So can somebody tell me why this is the right answer? Very brief, quick. Anyone? One second, I just got somebody here. I'll come back to you though.
Because action potential to like all or nothing, so you can
Mhm. So one of your colleagues said that action potentials are an all or nothing event. So whether you have it or not will determine your intensity in the back. Okay, anybody else? Awesome. So yeah, that is right. If you want your neurons to tell each other that there's a very important stimulus occurring, you're going to want to fire that neuron many more times than just once. That'll tell you obviously that it's more intense. And that kind of also like stems into long-term potentiation, for instance, or just synaptic plasticity in general. Obviously, amplitude doesn't really matter. That just kind of helps you determine whether or not you're going to get over your threshold potential. That will then trigger an action potential. Yeah, everything else was pretty good. Duration time of a single action potential, that doesn't necessarily matter, just because as soon as you initiate a single action potential, it's not going to like, proliferate or anything like that or intensify as it goes on. So once you trigger it once, it's just going to be the one action potential you get. Any questions? Okay. Oh, true. Yeah. You guys can see it on your phones, right? Yeah, I can just go back and forth, I guess. Okay, last few seconds. Okay, so this one's a little more distributed. Can somebody walk me through what answer they put and why, very briefly? Anyone? Yes.
I put there would be no PHGY in the snap of your one because basically glutamate binds to AMPA and it's not the thing that's gonna flow through, it's like the sodium that flows through.
Mhm.
So that's why I first went up.
Yeah, exactly. So with exams like this, sorry, what your colleague said was that your glutamate is going to bind to your AMPA receptor, but the glutamate itself does not pass through that receptor and through that channel. It's going to be sodium that passes through. So that's why number 2 isn't right. So again, with questions like this, and even for finals for this course, pay attention to detail because that could, make the difference in what answer you give. So that's why it wasn't supposed to be a trick question, but again, stuff like this is important to keep in mind. The reason why 3 isn't right is because if you're blocking these receptors, you're blocking all of them and you're not going to be able to get a response regardless. Like you have to release that inhibition before you can even get your AMPA receptors to respond. So that's why even if you continue to add glutamate to your synaptic cleft, that's not going to change anything because your AMPA receptors themselves can't respond to anything. So concentration does not matter. And again, calcium in this case is, calcium isn't involved in this in particular, and in order for NMDA receptors to even be activated, what needs to happen? Yeah, so your postsynaptic spine needs to depolarize first, and how does that happen? Through sodium coming in through your AMPA receptors. So if that can't happen, then your NMDA receptors can't be activated either, and so calcium stays in that synaptic cleft. Any questions? Yeah. Yeah, so the second is wrong because glutamate does not pass through your AMPA receptors, they just bind to it so that sodium can go through. Yeah.
Blocker have been like this competitive activities for them to be competition and we could overcome.
Hypothetically, I'm sure it could, but I don't think you're gonna guess that unless it's like specifically stated. But yes, good point. Any other questions? Okay. Few more seconds. Okay. Okay. So does anybody have an explanation for why this happens? Why this is the right answer?
Right there.
Yes. Exactly. So for those on Zoom, what one of your colleagues said is that at the nodes of Ranvier, that's, or in your myelinated portion of your axon, you do not have any sodium channels, which is correct. And so this insulation, that is the myelin, is going to keep your sodium, right, or it's going to keep your ions from fading out of the neuron essentially. And so your gradients from degrading. So that kind of allows the action potential to propagate a longer distance before having to regenerate itself. And so that's what happens at your nodes of Ranvier, because it's only at those nodes that you do have your sodium channels. So if you were to remove those nodes altogether, so to say like you have one continuous myelin sheath all along the axon, you wouldn't have any places where that action potential could be regenerated. And so eventually your action potential would just stop altogether. Does anyone have any questions about the other options or why any of them are wrong, or any questions about this concept in particular? Okay. Is there a question?
Yeah, about the, yeah, I have a question 3.
Okay. Oh, whatever, I'll answer that after. Okay. Yeah. Something. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna close it in a few seconds, just make it a little quicker. Okay. Can somebody explain to me why it's A and B and not just B? Yes. Yep. Yep. So yes. So obviously, if you have stronger synapses, they're more active. But plasticity also refers to the concept that less active synapses get weaker, right? Because your neurons can kind of change, and if you're not using one pathway, it's the next time you go to use it, it's not going to be as strong as if you were to use something continuously. So like think of memorizing a fact for an exam, like the more you activate that pathway and continue to ask yourself that question, it's going to come to you a lot easier. Whereas if you kind of like leave a question like unanswered for 2 months, you're not going to remember it as easily. So that's kind of the same concept. It's just reverse. Oh, sorry. Yes. One second. What did I put? A, B, and C? I don't actually remember what I put down for this. Oh, okay. That's because if you inhibit any active synapse, like you'll be inhibiting a lot of pathways that are like constantly needed. Seizures aren't like obviously a normal physiologic function, so that's more so like a pathologic thing. But if you were to inhibit all of your active synapses, then like that would cause a lot more, you know, you're blocking or inhibiting a lot of other pathways. So I can think of that. Any questions? Okay. Yeah, so highly active excitatory synapses get stronger and less active synapses get weaker. I'm going to try and speed through the next 2 questions. I'm taking up a lot of time, but should be open now. Give you guys like 30 more seconds. Five more seconds. Oh. Okay, can somebody explain what they put in line? Should be clicking. Oh, there we go. I did not realize that. Okay. There we go. I was like, what's happening? Can somebody explain? Actually, no, I'm just gonna explain because we don't have too much time. So basically, calcium chelator is going to sequester your calcium ions so that they can't be used. You're essentially taking your calcium out of the synaptic cleft. And so if you were to release, or if you had GABA in the synaptic cleft, what's GABA known for? Is it excitatory or inhibitory? Okay, perfect. So in this case, calcium is kind of irrelevant, right? Like if you bind GABA, you're going to want chlorine or chloride ions to come in and hyperpolarize your membrane. So calcium doesn't matter in this case. So you would get an iPSC. Whereas if you were to add glutamate to the synaptic cleft, would you get LTP? No. Because for LTP, you need, or it involves your NMDA receptors. And so when your NMDA receptors or your postsynaptic spine is depolarized, your NMDA receptors are going to open, your magnesium is going to come out, and you're going to be able to get calcium going through your NMDA receptors. But if you don't have any calcium in your synaptic cleft, you wouldn't be able to, get any calcium into your postsynaptic spine, so LTP wouldn't occur. Does that kind of make sense? Does that reasoning make a little bit of sense? Okay, cool. No? Someone say no? Yes. Oh,
Did I make that?
it might have been LTP instead of EPSP, but yes, 2 would be correct. You would get an EPSP because you have your calcium coming in through your NMD or through your AMPA receptors, but you wouldn't get long-term potentiation.
So, who would be 15? Did I make a mistake?
No, that's the right answer. I just think the option number 2 in the first one, so like 1 IPSP and 2 was, I think, supposed to be LTP. Regardless, if there's any confusion with the exam, you can always like talk to one of the professors or whoever's there observing. Yeah. So, yeah, yes. Okay. So calcium is required to go through your NMDA receptors for long-term potentiation. So if you bind glutamate to your AMPA receptors and to your NMDA receptors, you're going to get you're going to get sodium going through your AMPA receptors. That's going to depolarize your postsynaptic membrane and cause magnesium to kind of jump out of the NMDA channel 4, and so that's going to allow calcium to come through. If you don't have calcium in your synaptic cleft, that's not going to be able to happen. So in order for LTP to occur, you need to include, or it involves your NMDA receptors. But if nothing's coming through those NMDA receptors, then you wouldn't really get that potentiation that you're looking for. So it wouldn't necessarily strengthen the synapse. Yes. Yes, but the chelator's in the synaptic cleft, so it's not in the presynaptic neuron, so it's only once calcium is released in the actual cleft, but yeah. Yeah, essentially. Well, I'm gonna have to go to the next question. Is that
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think we're good on time.
good? Well,
The last one for nurse synapse.
and of course, if you guys have any other questions, you can email me. My email is somewhere on my courses, so I know your exam is soon. Good news is that it's almost done. Bad news is that it's soon, but you guys will do fine.
That's how I felt too. Here you're professing. Future exam.
Oh my god. Imagine. Okay. Men's section.
You will take care of it.
No, but like the actual men's section. You get it. How'd that go?
It's good.
Right?
Fun.
Neutrophils and whatnot.
Neutrophils.
Okay, 10 more seconds.
Presenting antigen presenting cell.
Should we talk about eosinophils?
Yeah, slightly. Eosinophils, cool.
Yeah.
With who?
Judah?
Join Mano.
Yeah. Hey, she's not that bad. I just not like her, but yeah. Okay, closing. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's like. There we go. Can anybody like quickly tell me why? Yes. Mhm. Yes, exactly. Well, yes, what your colleague was saying is that you would look at your resting membrane potential and essentially add or take away the net total of the 20 millivolts IPSPs, which would make the membrane more negative, and your 50 millivolts that of EPSP that would make it more positive. Yes, what I was getting at here was not the summation, but integration of all of your inputs. And so the sum total of your IPSPs and EPSPs are going to determine whether or not your neuron's going to fire an action potential at all. So if here I were to say the opposite, so 50 millivolts of IPSPs and 20 millivolts of EPSPs, what would it be then? It would be an IPSP, right? Yeah. Because you just have a net more negative, or your IPSPs basically trump your EPSPs, essentially. Yes.
So at this point, we're not worried about the -7 threshold, because it's when you're just summing IPSP or.
Yeah, exactly. So your IPSPs and EPSPs are already in your like postsynaptic membrane. So you want to look at that. Any questions? Yes. You would get an IPSP instead because you have more hyperpolarization of the membrane than depolarization. Yes, yeah, it would. Okay. That's it for this section. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me, or just post in the discussion thread. But yeah, good job, guys. You guys are doing great. Good luck.
Well, round of applause for Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. All right. CNS motor. Yeah. CNS motor, homies. CNS motor. I'm locking the voting right now. All right, so this is to unlock the voting. Once it gets up to a certain number, just show results and then. Yeah. Is the voting open?
Hello, everyone. So we have 6 questions on the CNS motor section, and yeah, this is the first one. I'm just looking at the polling numbers. Also, just want to say one thing about these questions. There's going to be a theme. I'm sure you've seen on the midterms about if it's going to be not true or true. Just pay attention to the wording because they got me before, so they can get you.
That's a question for you.
Core 4 movements. It was on the slides. Sorry. These are the slides. Like single slides.
We'll go through with it. Sorry.
Does anyone need more time or? Okay, so looks like most people got that right. Does anyone, I guess, want to say why that's correct or why they chose a different answer? I guess not. Yeah, okay, so. Where? Oh. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So what one of your peers said is that the cerebellum is for coordination and not for actual movements.
Does anybody want to explain what the different symptoms actually are? Like, does anyone know what dysmetria is, for example? Yeah, so exactly. So as one of your colleagues explained, dysmetria is the inability to specifically target movements correctly. So for example, the professor talked about pass pointing. So if a person tries to point, it won't be where they're supposed to be aiming for. Then I know we got a question about this. Does anyone want to attempt to explain what coriform movements are? Yeah, exactly. So they're jerky, involuntary movements. And then last one, does anyone want to explain what bradykinesia is? Yeah, perfect. So that's slow movements. Does anybody have any questions about these? Okay, perfect. We'll move on to the next question.
A few more seconds. Okay, so we have a bit of disagreement here. Does anyone want to explain, I guess, the second option? Why that's incorrect? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so what we were getting at here for the second option is that sleep apnea is more for it's during increased periods of increased respiration because there's sudden stop, so it's not as noticeable or it doesn't happen as often during decreased respiration. So yeah. Any other questions about this one?
Okay, we'll move on to the third question then. To go all the way down. Okay, we'll give you a couple more seconds. Okay, great. So a lot of people got the right answer. Does anybody want to explain this? Sorry. Who said that? Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. You can see it straight from the side, but essentially, yes, in this reflex, the magnitude depends on the magnitude of the pain stimulus that you're touching. Does anybody have any other questions about the other answers? No? What about what reflex does control muscle tension? Yeah, perfect. So everybody pretty much got it. That's the inverse stretch reflex. So it's really important to make sure you're really clear about your different reflexes. There'll definitely be questions on it. You really want to make sure that you know all the different components. And there's some really good overview slides throughout. So make sure you know all those keywords.
You actually have that also.
Okay, a few more seconds. Okay, good job, guys. Most of you got this right. So the prefrontal cortex is the only one of the amygdala, olfactory bulb, and hippocampus that are not in the limbic system, but can be a bit confusing sometimes because it's part of the which system. I heard someone say mesolimbic system, which is the reward pathway. But you guys seem to know that, but make sure not to confuse those. Any other questions about this? Yeah.
Okay, here's question number 5.
I think it's just accident.
Oh, no.
It might. Did it die?
I
No,
think it
okay.
might
It's like-
We're back. All right, we're chilling then. Is it still recording and sharing? Just has to be recording. Pause, stop recording. Okay, it's not. It's recording. Are we sharing?
Share screen. I think it's not.
Share. Oh, okay. No, desktop. Okay.
Okay, a few more seconds. Almost. Okay, so looks like most people got this right, but it looked a little bit tricky. Does anyone want to explain why they chose this option? That it doesn't sense passive muscle strength, and why that's true? Why? Yeah, so that one, I think we understand, but I'm asking about the second one, about this option, why the Golgi tendon organ does sense passive muscle. Yeah, go ahead.
Because in the slides, the muscle proprioceptive stretch still causes the mechanism. There's a lot less than a proprioceptive. Wait, it doesn't mean that they still react, but there's a lot less.
It's a big question.
Yeah, so there is still some reaction, but I mean, we were really just focusing on the difference between passive and active and which one will actually activate the most. That might be a little bit confusing. It won't be that confusing on the exam.
Any other questions about the other options, I guess?
Okay, just one more question for our section.
The longer.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give everybody a couple more seconds. Okay, so the majority of people got it right. Does anybody want to explain their answer?
And someone please.
Okay, basically it's true, but yeah, would you like to? Yeah, exactly. So perfect. The corticospinal is more for the extremities, and this also explains why it's more involved in skilled voluntary movements, but instead the extrapyramidal is more involved in trunk and posture. So really make sure you know the key differences between these two as well. And those are all the questions for our section. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask right now? So the question was, is there a trick to remember which is crossed and which is not crossed? To be honest, I think the best way is really just to memorize it. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's the answer I have. Yeah. Like up through the.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to send us an email with that question answered. Yeah, so if anybody has any more questions about other topics, just send us an email and we'll try our best to respond right away because we know that you have your exam coming up pretty soon. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I don't know how to use the Slido.
No worries. So I'm just gonna start us off. So you hit this down arrow right here. So your CNS sensory.
Yeah.
So they just start right here.
Okay.
And when you
I
click
just
on it-
press next. Is there a next button?
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm just going to go back to there.
Yeah. So all you have to do is just click this one, and it's open right away.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with CNS sensory now. This is Emma.
Hello.
She'll be taking us through it. So just answer this question now.
So that is to show the correct answer
This one, yeah.
and
So-
then show results.
Usually like when it gets up to like, you can
Like
do
90-ish.
not even 90 at this point.
Last,
Like, let's see, what do we have here? Nothing on the chat, 44 in the Zoom.
the
last
couple was like 97. So I feel like you can get them to like 90 to 85.
yeah, it's 90. And then I'm just gonna hit
Then you
lock.
block.
But you don't really have to lock.
It's fine. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
change things.
Yeah, you just hit show and then show correct answer. And then you don't have to stop the polling. You can just go to the next one and then it'll start right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What's new now?
I'm almost finished the anatomy slides.
What do you mean, like slide?
Like making slides to practice for
Low
lab
key?
exams.
What do I need to, what do I need to give you?
I gave them to you. You have them.
Oh,
I sent them in the group
Mom.
chat
she did that.
in
I-
all classes.
Not in
Or
all
just, like,
classes.
in
My
that-
my FIGY 396 report.
Yeah, no,
It-
that looks
it
really
knocked
intense.
me out.
Yeah.
But Dr. White said it was excellent. He said
That's
that's
really
all
good.
I care about.
Are you hoping to do your honors project with them?
I don't know at this point. Depends on how we feel. Depends if we get a grant or not. I don't know.
Do you need a grant for your honors project?
No,
You don't
but
know.
it's just like. No. It would be nice, but I don't know if there's anything further to investigate
With what you're doing.
as an undergrad. Like, I would need a PhD. Like, what PhD? I don't know if he's gonna do a postdoc,
Right.
but also variety is the spice of life.
True. Okay, just a couple more seconds. I know that makes sense.
So. How about you?
In terms of
Research.
research, so I put the lab that I was.
All right,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, so it seems like most people got the correct answer. Can someone explain to me why this is the correct answer? Yeah, go ahead. Either one of you, it doesn't matter. It separate, so it's basically like. I was thinking. Yeah, so both of you kind of said the same thing, just essentially what the question says is, it separates the frontal lobe from the parietal lobe, and right behind there is like the motor cortex. Yeah, so that's the correct answer. Basically, if you had trouble with this one, make sure you review. I think it was one of Dr. Hook's first slides. It has an image of the brain and all the brain regions. That's a really easy multiple choice question for him to ask. Okay, here's the next question.
Say something.
Yeah.
By the way, if anyone has any questions anytime, even during the answers, just call on us. There's a bunch of us about any section too.
Okay, just a couple more seconds. Okay. Okay, and just before I go over this one, I just want to clarify for the last question. It's important to remember that in front of the central sulcus is the motor cortex and behind it is the somatosensory. That is also another way that it could show up on the exam. Okay, so for someone who got this question correct, can you explain why this was your answer and maybe why this one instead of
another similar answer. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so basically, it was about the last question. Sorry. Oh, yeah, so the motor cortex is in front of the central sulcus and then the somatosensory cortex is behind it. And so the question asked about like frontal and parietal, but another way that this question about the central sulcus could show up on the exam is like asking if it's, you know, in front or behind the motor cortex or somatosensory cortex. Okay, so does anyone, oh. Did I say it opposite? Let me just make sure. So yeah, motor cortex is in front of the central sulcus and somatosensory is behind. Okay, does anyone have an answer for this question? Yeah, go ahead. Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So what your colleague just said was basically explaining how this all flows through the brain and how it all ends up in the dural sinus, which is around the midline. Yeah, are there any questions about this one? Okay, awesome. Go on to the next one.
Cool. So you're saying you left your mom?
Yeah, so it was like too much. And it was like just volunteering. It was literally just this, it was just mounting brain and slicing things. And then like,
Mounting with, like, what would you mount with?
dappy, so like the show fluorescent staining and then or yeah, mobile dappy, like to stick, and then yeah, that was pretty much it. And slice it with Vibratin.
Yeah, it's cool at first, but it can get a bit repetitive.
It's very repetitive, and they had no mice, and they weren't getting mice until like maybe January to like run experiments.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know, nothing interesting was gonna happen for a while, and it was like too much. So, but I don't know. Wait, I mean, I'm doing an honors project next year, so I need to find somewhere, but I don't know where because I like currently have like a supervisor for like my PHGY tutorial. So unresponsive that I don't know if I could work with him for an honors project, even if his stuff is pretty
guy, yeah.
interesting. So,
You want to take it over?
yeah. Okay, so. Okay, so most people got it right. Great job. Can somebody explain why they chose this as the answer? Anybody? Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead. Yeah, so what your colleague said is basically that just you should be able to sense when things are changing. And just to clarify also, it's really important that we're able to sense things that are changing because, you know, when you look at like a blank wall, it doesn't really matter if you're still looking at the blank wall, like it's the same thing. So our brain
doesn't really care about that kind of stuff. What it really cares about is if there's like a bright flash all of a sudden on that wall. So things that are changing. So adaptation, for example, if like all of your neurons were saturated, then you wouldn't be able to adapt, and that's bad because then you can't sense changes. But adaptation basically allows us to be able to like see these changes, which is what is most important. Are there any questions about that? Okay, move on to the next one.
I remember these.
These are my favorite ones. That's why I like this section.
I remember drawing the thing like during the exam,
Yeah.
or the thing with the eye.
Oh, yeah. That's all I do. I just draw. Any plans for the weekend?
I have Farm 300 on Wednesday,
Oh,
so I have to like,
that sounds. See that. And
like
then on
the
the ninth, you have.
isoflurane. Yeah,
Oh,
and then Friday at the lab. Oh my goodness, bro. This is
three exams.
five,
Yeah, me
like
too.
7, 9, 13, 14, 15.
Okay, that's really bad. At least mine goes until the 19th.
I'm just like,
That sucks.
oh, I get to see my family on the 16th. Oh, I get to see my GPA go down.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
How did you find bio on Wednesday?
it wasn't actually that bad. The short answer was I liked it. Multiple choice, I like was
Multiple choice. was
going
bad.
all over my notes. I was like, I need something. Please help me. Please help me.
So I was talking to Andy and he was like, this was a command F situation. And I was like,
All right, I think we're good to go.
Okay, so I'm gonna show the answers. So most of you got the correct answer again. Good job. Can someone explain why this is the correct answer?
Yeah, well, basically, once we're, once it goes through, well, the spinal canal, it's about seconds, so that's both, then none of the side, they will get inside, and it can't be both, it can only be the spinal segment, because, or it can be below, you have to, that be anterior, lateral, column.
Yeah, exactly. So what your colleague said basically was, that it's going to be temperature and pain because that's the pathway that crosses the midline of the spinal segment. And then that it can't be below the level of the lesion because that would have to be at the anterior lateral column. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay.
Perfect answer in my opinion.
reminiscent.
Yeah, I missed this course.
It was good course, actually.
I wish
Made
I
me really like
got to
physiology.
take this course in person. It would have been nice.
Yeah, it was nice to sit in on the lectures, actually. Until Dr. Cook got COVID. Should have taken some of the fishy courses this year. They
Mm-mm.
were really good.
Mm-mm.
314 is so good though.
Mm-mm.
Really? Oh yeah, you don't like that.
Immuno is so cool. Immunology is like Star Wars.
Do you take a min course right now?
Not right now. Next semester.
Okay.
All the immunology I use in class.
Mm. I don't know, also nothing for immunology besides like what we learned last year. Or like nothing.
It's a really interesting process. It's very
Yeah.
confusing.
I feel like it would.
They just like make up names. It's like so much.
Yeah, same with neuro. But I feel like at least like I mean,
Sorry.
at least in neuro, I feel like the names kind of have like meanings, right? I feel like in immunology, there's just so many things that you have to memorize and so many cells. Like cytokines and shit. I don't know. Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple more seconds.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So quite a few people got the correct answer. Can somebody explain why this answer is correct? Yeah, over there. Yeah, exactly. So what your colleague said basically is that cones have the higher acuity. So, and that's obviously important because cones are the ones that see daylight, and you would want to be able to differentiate things very specifically. Any questions about that one? Yeah, so the question is if I can explain kind of a bit about blind spots. And so basically the most important thing is that the optic disc is a part of the retina that has like very few photoreceptors, or essentially none. And so that means that in that area, you wouldn't be able to see in that area of the visual field. But obviously none of us like have a giant circle that we can't see in. And so that's just because your brain fills in that missing space. And so that's what's important to remember about blind spots. I think that was the only thing that Dr. Cook mentioned about that. Any other questions? Yeah. Yeah, so the question is about the fovea and if it has more photoreceptors or if it's just that more of the circuitry is moved out of the way. And so basically it does have more photoreceptors, it has more cones. And so the fovea is also the part of the eye that's going to have the highest acuity just because it has the most cones. I'm not 100% sure about the circuitry, but if you email me, I can try and get back to you. Yeah. Oh, it's both? Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, can move on to the next one. Do you know the answer, you sure?
The firing rate of an excitatory center, inhibitory surrounding one cell blank and exposed to a blank. It's been about 1 whole year since I.
The worst part is in 314, it gets worse because there's also like double counted cells. So you have to do it with color, with cells that like not only do they just like respond to one another, but they also will respond differently to different things. It's really fun, especially when they give us feedback.
He said, I remember the center surround thing. I don't know which one.
I don't like how they explain it though. I feel like the way they explain it is really confusing.
Interesting.
Like I didn't understand it when I first looked at it.
Let's see. I feel like not this one. It's not this one, right?
No.
Okay. Not this one.
No.
There has to be contrast. So it's one of these. This one.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right. Yeah, let's
Okay.
go.
So almost everybody got it right, which is awesome. Can anyone explain how they got this answer? Yes.
Okay, yeah. So does it excited for right? Light and then okay.
No.
If it around that it doesn't like light, so if it matches up, then you're gonna get an excited free signal, and that's why.
Yeah. So basically what your colleague said is that it says the retinal ganglion cell is on center and off surround, which means that it's going to respond best to bright light in the center and then darken the surround. Remember, retinal ganglion cells like contrast, so they're going to fire the most when there's contrast. Any questions about that one? Okay, awesome. Is it fixed?
I just need to make sure this is recording. Is it recording? If it's not recording, the people who didn't show up.
It's recording.
All right, thank God. Share screen, desktop, share. I don't know why it's doing this. Anyways.
Okay, last question.
Oh, the anatomy of the ear. Yeah, we had auditory. The tympanic membrane, like Dr. played this really cool thing with like the classical song.
Fun fact. In 314 it's Volera, yeah. Fun fact, the picture on his slides of the autoacoustic emissions is their daughter.
Oh, yeah,
It's whose daughter? It's the no, it's the Queen's daughter.
yeah. 314, she said. It's fine.
Maybe they didn't. They probably didn't pick it up.
That's fine.
Okay, that's all right.
But I know that she did her PhD on the ear at Harvard.
Hair cells,
Yeah.
stereocilia. Are those on hair? Those are on hair cells, yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the are those the no?
They're
the things popping up with the spring with them.
Yeah, the little hairs on the head cells.
Yeah, I think there's one of them. Three. And then,
You know,
sure, and then me and you will close it off.
how many of the other two sections?
Three
Three.
each.
Okay, just a couple more seconds.
I have six, and I.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so quite a few people got the correct answer. Can someone explain why this is right? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. So what your colleague said is it's not between the middle and the inner ear, it's before, and that's true. It's actually what separates the like external canal, so the outer ear from the middle ear. Any questions about that one? Yeah, so it's not that the tympanic membrane separates the middle and the inner ears, it's that it separates the external canal and the middle ear. Okay, that's the end for my section. If anyone has any questions, just feel free to come up to me. Yeah.
Thank you, Emma. All right. Victor. Do the honors. So. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I only made a few muscle ANS questions. So we'll do those at the very end, like 3 of them. Okay, but now we're gonna move on to pre-midterm content. Yeah, active recall. Okay. So body fluids, question 1. Here you go, boss. Yeah. So for these ones, I think there are multiple correct answers. I think we'll see.
I think there are definitely multiple correct answers for these ones. How do I pull?
They're pulling right now.
Okay, yeah.
And then you remember from last time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just hit this.
Yeah, you've been watching the whole time, yeah.
So how much people should I wait for until?
Let's do 75. Honestly, we can just go like right now.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't want to keep it too long. Oh, you gotta. Yeah. Oh, that books. Interesting. Let's see. Wait. Yeah. Okay, bet. Oh, well done.
Yeah, so all of these are correct. So insensible perspiration is like not sweat.
Let them.
Oh, okay.
So they give you the attention.
Does someone want to explain more about insensible perspiration?
You guys
You wanna-
remember this? All right. So which one? Like, why is this one right?
Isn't it? It's skin, right?
Let's get some. This is Socratic learning here. Let's get some discussion going. Yes. Yeah.
You could explain all of them if you want.
All in life, not just when you have like active work and stress. And then gives us all of your skin, you don't have to use for it. And then secure water makes it happen like summertime.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Right.
You have to hide before.
No.
Okay.
Just go to the 22 right away.
Yes.
Love how it like suddenly gets loud, like when people like start answering and they keep talking.
I'm not sure if this one's correct. Have I-
Well, I guess we'll see. I don't remember, but you wanna?
All right, yeah. Let's show results.
Okay. And show answer.
All right. Looks like most of you answered the correct one. Does anyone want to explain why?
So 96% of you said the first one, and 95, 94. That means almost. Yes, please. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's not a super high hurdle for it. I kind of remember it as like, gives water to make it.
Okay.
10% turnover, 5 to 10, they can't handle the water. The water concentration, their water level, and they're just small, have like a high surface area, so it's like if the water on the sensors in your course that escape from outside the bleed, because it's like it's closer to the end.
Should I
Pretty
be
much, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll tell you.
So like what your colleague said was that so like if you give water to a baby, it kills them, or it can kill them because they don't have a lot of water. And so okay, should have refreshed myself.
Yeah, no worries, bro. I mean, so many people said this, so we should have. He gave a good explanation.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they heard though.
Oh,
That's one part of it.
beyond the scope of the course, I think. But
I'm pretty sure that's one of
we're
the
just trying to
Explain which option.
both of them.
Infants have a higher turnover compared to adults because they have higher surface area to volume ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the turnover as in they are going to,
Like use up more water.
yeah, because
Or
they're
like
sort of,
exchange more water.
they're exchanging more water because they have exactly the higher surface area to volume ratio. So there's more of the water that's going to be in contact with the outside. I think that's basically it.
Okay. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
$75.
70 questions.
70. Okay.
Maybe you want to remove this thing in the middle of the screen so that we can move it. This thing.
Do they see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's related to the valence of the ion.
Which that's 60.
Sure.
Or
No,
honestly,
like they have to do the math, so I guess this one takes longer.
how many do we have on Zoom? 42. Oh, they stayed. Cool. All right.
All right,
yeah.
I'm gonna show results now.
What's EQ?
Oh, should I explain it or does someone want to explain it?
Does someone know what EQ is and can explain it to your classmate?
If not, I can.
No volunteers now. All right.
So I don't remember what it stands for, but it's related to the valence of the ion. Equivalence.
Yeah.
Okay, it means equivalence. So you multiply the molarity by like what valence it is. So in this case, it's calcium. So it's 2 times the molarity, which is 3.49. Does one want to explain why the other answers are correct?
Yes.
Sure. You can explain both if you want. Or all.
And that's why that's, and that's also 1 liter, so grams per liter. 1.75 volts, and it's 7% because in grams over 1 liter of solution is equivalent to 1,000 grams to get 7%. Yeah, okay.
So
Everyone
you're-
hear that? You're not paying attention. You gotta listen. You want to repeat?
Okay, so what your colleague said was, wait,
go
her
ahead.
repeat or me repeat?
Go ahead.
Like to get the molarity, you need to get the moles over liters. So you just convert the grams of calcium by its molecular weight to its moles and divide it by liters. For the 7%, there's like 1,000 grams in a liter. So if you divide 70 grams by 1,000, you get 7.
Yeah. Yes.
It's always assumed that the 1 liter is like water or something that has a weight of like a gram per milliliter.
Usually solution densities are around the density of water. Because like if you add stuff, it really doesn't change it much.
All right.
I think that's it.
That's all. Yeah.
All right,
Thank you, Victor.
no problem. I'm gonna dig.
That was kind of. Sorry, though. Yes, thank you, Victor. All right, Sammy, it's time for immunology. Personally, Sammy and I, we love immunology. I'll do transport mechanisms in a bit.
All right, let's do this quickly. We all want to leave.
Yeah.
So Q1, what do I do now?
No, it's open.
That's it?
Yep. Is it open?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, a question. Yeah. Yeah, well, 1 liter is equal to 1 kilograms of water, right? So if it's water, yeah, sure. Is that your question?
I mean, just so we can get it out of the way, let's just stop at 50. Yeah.
15?
Yeah, when it gets to
If
50.
you want. Alrighty, I'm gonna log it and show results. Okay, so the adaptive immune response. How many of you have actually started studying? No, that section too? No, maybe no. All right, so that's true. It begins with an antigen presenting cell migrating to the lymph node. And that's not too hard. Why is it not include CD4 T lymphocytes that complete their maturation in bone marrow? And the thymus, good job. Has no specificity, does not differentiate. That's the biggest no-no for adaptive. Forms nets. Who forms nets? Yeah, neutrophils, good job. Involves only a cellular response. No. We've talked about antibodies a lot. That's humoral. Good job. All right, next question. Where are
Just
we?
hit the arrow, we're chilling.
Oh,
Goes
okay.
to the next one right away. It's cool, huh?
Very cool.
This one. I have a good feeling about this one.
Which one?
Good response.
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's a multiple choice, so you can proceed by process of elimination. No one's gonna check. Oh, she can't. So, okay. Okay, I'm gonna log. So put in your answers, last couple of people. Okay. Show results. True. And again, by process of elimination. IgGs, that's what they do. That's what you need to know. We're not gonna go too hard on you on the IgA, the IgE questions, because we know that's not the main focal point of this section. But you should have an overview on it. Why isn't it the second option, IgEs? Exactly. IgAs. Yeah, oh, sorry. They're increased during allergic responses. That's what they do. For IgAs, are they monomers? It's a dimer. Good job. IgMs, they're weird spiders, right? Yeah. And IgDs, nobody knows what they do. Good job. That's what you learn at McGill. Okay. Question 3. Is it open?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, yeah. That's immunology, cytokines and stuff.
CCL21, CCR7.
That's like a very basic intro to anyone.
Which one?
This one.
Oh, this, yeah.
That's
Do you learn about CCL21 in 314 or 313?
No. CCL, what is it?
Chemokine ligand 21.
No.
So
In 313.
Like MIM 214? Yeah, okay. Like the first half of the course, it's what you learn in this. Yeah, but it's of course, yeah. It's a very nice course. I recommend taking it if you're interested in immunology. Yes. Dendritic cell.
Dendritic cell, yeah. DC is a dendritic cell.
You go more into depth, like on T cell development, B cell development, how they mature, how you avoid autoimmunity, stuff like that. There are guest lecturers, I think sometimes to talk about, like, had one person come in and tell us her story about multiple sclerosis, which is an autoimmune condition. You talk about vaccines, very basic.
All right, I'm gonna lock it. So put in your answers. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, this was a bit challenging. I agree. So CD40 on B cells interacts with CD40 ligand on CD8 T cells. 1 second. I think this one is the wrong option.
It's wrong,
I think it's a B cell receptor interacts with the antigen on the DC dendrite.
like that does not take place.
Oh, does not. Sorry. You see, even I got tripped up. So which one does not take place? Why does a B cell receptor interact with? Why is the second option right? It does interact. Yeah. Exactly. So the first option is wrong because it's the CD4 positive T cell with which there's a CD40 ligand interaction. So it's between a B cell and CD4 T cell, a helper T cell. So watch out for those not true, especially when it's a 70 question final. At the end, your eyes just they don't focus. So just, yeah, make sure you read every question. Does anyone want to go over the others? Yes. Yeah, so the CD40 ligand interaction, that happens between the B cell and the T helper cell. And the T helper cell CD4 positive, not CD8 positive. CD8 positive is a cytotoxic T cell. All right, last question for immuno. We're soon going to be over. It's 5-10 minutes. We'll be out of. How are you guys feeling about the final? This, okay. Or any other finger? No. Yeah, but while you're going through the slides, there are certain slides where you know you're going to get a question about it. So put that in your head, and when you're doing the final and you see that question, you'll get pumped up. Like, I knew that. And it's just a little psychological boost. Like the Dr. Cook questions with the lesions, you're gonna get that. I don't know the questions, but I'm sure you're gonna get that. So yeah, little stuff to boost.
Sammy, what are your evening plans, my friend?
Nothing. I think I'm gonna walk my dog.
Oh, cool.
And then I'm gonna watch something.
Like a movie?
It's a weekend.
Yeah.
Something on Netflix.
Cool. I might go to Fuji Fridays.
Ooh.
They end at 8.
Do they know about Fuji Fridays?
Oh, that's good. I'll mention that at the very end.
They're all physiologists, no?
No.
All right, I'm gonna lock it. So last couple of people. Okay. Show results. Good job. Immunoglobulin gene rearrangement. Why is it not option 2? Does someone know? Someone, yeah. Yeah, the C gene codes for the constant portion of the antibody. Do you ever change that? No, never. Decreases the antibody diversity. Really? No, no. Is a process that occurs in all lymphocytes. All leukocytes, maybe. All lymphocytes, no. None of the above, no. So it's the first one. The TDT enzyme does add random mutations to edit the immunoglobulin G. That's
You
what
know-
it does. VDJC, variation diversity joining muscle.
Do you know what kind of mutation it is?
What does TDT do in terms of types of mutations? Insertions, deletions, inversions.
Insertion. That's it,
Yeah, it messes everything up, but
frame shifts.
yeah, in a good way. Okay, is that it for immuno? Good job, blood. We
Yeah.
might just do a handful.
Yeah, I've got 3 blood, 3 body transport, and I think 3 muscle ANS. So we'll just go through them very quickly because
Yeah.
low key kind of exhausted. All right. I know you guys are too. It's a Friday night. I'll go have your fun.
Like 2 of this, 1 of the next one, and then the ANS do it all.
Me or you?
Oh, as you wish.
Oh, 2. Okay.
Yeah,
I got
you
you.
know?
There we go.
Yeah, you can close it. Yeah, just tell them 5 more seconds, they all answer.
All right. A few more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Show results. They contain a nucleus and many granules. That's wrong. So,
That doesn't, yeah.
do I need to explain the others? All right. Consensus is no. How about in the Zoom? Do we have any homies in the Zoom? No, we
No.
don't. All right.
Next one.
Next question. Very good. 85%. It's good. Oh, this is a juicy question. I had fun making this one. Feel like a kidney doctor, no? A nephrologist. You can envision yourself in 10 years. Yeah, taking Fiji 209. It's amazing where you can end up in 10 years.
Just 10. Just 10. Sure.
Just 10.
Yeah.
10 short years. They fly by though.
You just said
A hint? Look, the relative sizes. It is a good question. It's because I shadowed a nephrologist and like about to do a HIPAA violation. Actually, no, if I don't say the name, it's not a HIPAA violation. But yeah, like kidney damage is marked with protein in the urea, protein urea. So
Yeah.
it's very important. Where? When? Like 2 summers ago in Idaho. But oh, okay. Let's see. Show results. Lock loading. Albumin, globulins, fibrinogen. Okay. Indeed. So, yes. They can. Oh. Generally speaking, I guess.
But if it's on this, if on the site says smaller or bigger, they won't get, they probably won't.
On the slide.
They'll specify, or they just won't give them a question like that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
All right, so
if it's ambiguous.
So, I'm gonna make sure this gets on the
Okay.
recording. So her question is, sometimes globulins can either be smaller or bigger than fibrinogen, and what's the reason? That will, Rihanna, what was the reason? If you have a what? A hole, yes.
then those 90 side globulins are gonna start coming out before you reach the 350, where fibrinogen starts coming out. So globulin will still come out first, even if they, like, the big size is not enough.
Excellent. I think that'll make it on the recording. We'll see.
You wanna say
Hopefully.
that again?
Okay, so here's the case. Here, I'll just go through it right now. Albumin is the smallest, so with the smallest damage to the kidneys, the smallest holes, albumin will go through. Now, globulins can either be smaller or bigger than fibrinogen. So as kidney damage progresses, the holes get bigger. The globulins that are smaller than fibrinogen will start moving through, appearing in the urine, then fibrinogen, then the globulins that are bigger than fibrinogen. We good? Okay, excellent. Next question. This one should be quick.
That's right. Just say 5 seconds, look at the count.
Okay, 5 seconds. Let's see, 1, 2. It's going up. It's going up.
Good.
All right. Show results. Lock voting. Show correct answer. Good. 67%. All right. This is like a more complex question, sort of. Anyone want to give me a rationale? I've picked you too much. You as well. Someone who has to
Someone
spoke.
else.
Yes, yes.
Bicarbonate.
Bicarbonate. Okay. Okay, so that's why this one is correct. So wait, do not contain. That's why this one's wrong, because we know that they do have it's called carbonic anhydrase. You'll learn more about it in PHGY 210. It's a spoiler. So how come why is this one correct? Maybe over here, Florence. No? Okay. Anyone? All right.
Epoxy.
You don't have a lot of oxygen, so you need more red blood cells so that you try to get more oxygen.
Yes. It's adaptation. So if you have low oxygen, the red blood cells are what's carrying the oxygen. So you can increase the oxygen you're carrying by increasing how many red blood cells you have. You need erythropoietin stimulates red blood cell synthesis. So you need that, and that's made from the kidneys. Okay. And so that's why when you have kidney damage, erythropoietin goes down. And that may lead to anemia, but we're not going to go into that. Also, know your anemias for the final exam, because that may well appear.
Transport. You want to skip transport?
You know what? I'm going to skip transport.
Just gonna do the last couple of questions.
Well, we'll just look at these. Greatest osmotic pressure. So 0.9% saline and your blood, they're pretty much the same thing. And then, so now you're comparing 1 molar KCl and calcium chloride. This one will dissociate into K plus and Cl minus, which is 2 things. This one will dissociate into Ca2 plus and 2 Cl minuses, which are 3 things. And so that's why it will exert greater osmotic pressure. All right, so that's the correct answer here. This is that really kind of sketchy table in Dr. Schreier's lecture. You know, it's the blue slide. You guys know, yeah. Flashbacks to like what, September, mid-September. Yeah. I would also know that this could well be on the exam. So when you see this one, option A, this is hemorrhage. Okay. Please don't do this ever. Don't ever drink seawater. This would not change anything. Yeah, I'm just gonna show the results here. So, okay, you know what? We'll make it more elegant. Cause your cells to shrink. So what will cause your cells to shrink? What does the outside have to be? Hypertonic, right? It's okay. I'm gonna crack a joke here. So it's like I define osmosis as like water moving to the particle party. You know, it's like where there's more particles, you know, they're partying, and water's like, oh, I want to see what's going on here. So you can think of it that way. So on the outside of the cell, there's more salt. And so water's like, hey, yo, I want to go hang out with salt. That moves out, cells shrink. All right.
Yeah.
So if you see this in the final exam, you can thank me for that.
So it's seawater.
Osmotic.
Okay, yes. So hypertonic, hypotonic is relative to what's between the membrane. Hyperosmotic, hypoosmotic is relative to 300 milliosmoles. If it's less, it's hypoosmotic. If it's more, it's hyperosmotic. That don't mix up hyperosmotic to hypertonic. All right, that could be catastrophic on the
Make sure you
exam.
know the difference, because they might also like make you compare them and they're not always the same.
Indeed,
Yeah,
indeed.
tonic has to do with the ones that the non-penetrating.
Yeah.
Okay. When did you just mess around?
Yeah, this one will take a second as well. See what time is it? 6:58. All right, we're gonna go over like maybe 5 minutes.
And
So
we'll stick around for questions.
we will. Okay, I'm just playing. We will stick around for questions. Please don't ask questions. All right, 10 more seconds. I'm gonna count down to give you stress. All right, let's say this is the last question you have to answer on your final. And we're already at like 3, 2, 1. Yeah, and they're like pencils down. Stop. Anything and everything is subject to inspection. I'm getting you guys ready for the exam. Water passes through cell membranes by aquaporins. Excellent. Secondary active transport utilizes energy released by primary transport to move solute along its concentration gradient. No, it's against. Okay. It's active. It's active transport. It's always against. And then these I won't even go over. All right. Let's see. Muscle ANS. This one should be juicy. Have you gone over this? This one? Okay. Answer. Also, like I didn't have the answers to these questions, so I kind of just like, it's been a year. I hope I remember. So I might get these wrong, but it's all right.
Give them 10 seconds.
Yeah, 10 more seconds.
How many do we have for last one?
Just 3.
You want me to take the next two?
Yeah, you'll end us off. Or
See if I remember.
yeah, you take this
This
one.
is Vegas.
I'll do the last one, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure. All right, I'm gonna lock it. It is indeed the Vegas nerve. Okay. This is not my second, I don't know, but it is a Vegas nerve. That's a nerve to remember for the future, if you plan to stay in sciences.
When in doubt, Vegas.
Yes.
Oh, this is a good one. This is the Bioc 311 question.
Oh, yeah.
Just quick question, like while you guys answer this. Who here is in physiology by raise of hands? Okay. And that. What else? What else do we have here? Farm, right. We have about farm.
Biochemistry.
Biochemistry. Yikes, you have to take 220 next semester.
Liberals, arts, whatever it's called.
You want to take this?
No? Anyone taking this as an
We
elective?
have any MIM? Let's go. We got MIM.
Good job.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna lock it now. 5 seconds. Yes, ATP, there's always some lingering ATP in the cell, that's what's used first. Then it's creatine kinase, creatine, sorry, creatine phosphate. Then it's glucose and glycogen probably. Yeah. Last question, you want to take that?
Yeah.
Last question.
This is an ANAT 261 question as well. Let's see, is this the last one? It is. Perhaps on the final exam, you may be given an image with, like a cross section of what they may look like. Are you an ANAT? No, you're not an ANAT. Who here is in ANAT 261? A lot of you. I'm also in ANAT 261. It's kind of yucky, in my opinion. It is pretty. It's pink and purple. All right, last one. Lock voting. Show results. All of the above. Yes, it is all of the above. All right. The H zone shortens. A band doesn't change length. I band shortens. Just maybe look at some animations of what's going on. All right. And the length doesn't change. They slide on one another. With that being said, just a few words of wisdom before you guys leave. You got this. Study hard this weekend. All right. What else? Do you have a quote of the day? All right. Let's see.
You got this.
Yeah, you got this. Be confident in yourselves. You know the material. You've seen it all semester long. Get good sleep before the exam because it's at 9 a.m. Right? And best of luck on the rest of your finals. Also, there's a Fiji Friday at Gertz right now. If you want to come to Gertz.
Right now?
Yeah, you can come to Gertz right now.
We won't ask Fiji questions.
We won't ask Fiji questions. Everyone's welcome. You don't have to be in Fiji. So if you want to hang, if you want to hang out, if you want to get wasted with your USCAs, feel free to come with us. All right. No, yeah, you do have to go study.
Study for what?
It is. It's all right though. I'll cut it out maybe.
No, why not? We're here for questions.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
here for
Yeah,
questions.
I want to ask questions.
Finish the slides.
How are you?
Exhausted.
That was my question. That's the only question I have.
I'm doing good though. That's good. It's always a pleasure to see you, man.
Pleasure to see you, man. Are you gonna chat for the last day Monday?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there. Okay, perfect. See you, bro. Have a good night.
I actually have a question about number 9. Oh, yeah, no. It's like sleep apnea, alpha. Yeah, this one. How come it wasn't like why it wasn't sleep
I believe
apnea?
it's increased respiration. I think.
Oh, slides though, it said like it decreased. Like
My
I
email, it's very long. You have to go to the my courses thing. It's the longest one on the my courses thing. Underneath the college. Have a good night.
oh yeah.
Sudden reduction in respiration, but I think it would be associated with stages. So like there's,
Stages of the increase.
so I think it's been like a year since I've done neuro, but I think it's during the stages where there's supposed to be increased respiration, that there's a sudden decrease in respiration that causes you to wake up as of sleep apnea.
It's basically it's reduced in the whole thing, but there's space for increases. Yeah.
So like, I think as you sleep, there are different phases with different respirations. And when, I don't know, CNS motor, this is Send this question to Hannah or Dan. My bad. I wish I could help
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Yeah. What's up? Yeah. No,
Either, how are you gonna say?
I don't know. I really don't know. I have more finals for that. So, yeah.
That's best about.
Just gotta look, I don't know, watch the lectures, make monkeys if possible. I don't know. I really don't know. If I can help you out. Best of luck. What's up?
Ryan, question. For the CDO, immunology. That was.
CD, the ligands,
Yeah,
CD40.
I was very. confused about that. Yeah.
So,
Does not take place in the place.
yep. So you just gotta know what takes place where. This one, it's CD4 positive. CD40, yeah.
I've never heard of it. It's a thing. Can it be like removed? If, like, go. Yeah.
Let's see what Google says. CD40.
There's like a good picture. I know CD14, they were-
What is the main role?
I don't
CD40.
know, but it's perfect because it's fractal. Yeah. No, that part's right, but it's just. Like the first part's right. I'll show you this. I think to memorize like every single anatomy, like the eye, the ear, every like little detail.
No, it wouldn't hurt to know it though, but I don't think they're really gonna.
Like what kind of questions do you think they're gonna ask regarding, like the eye, I know like there's like this broad, they're probably asking about that, but like, and I'm just curious to like memorize like literally everything of every, you know, there's so many sections and each subsection has like a, and you just know all of
College
it.
man. Yeah.
Just basically know.
He released a practice question, a practice exam. I think she released it at 5 p.m. And so that's your best representation of what to expect. And make sure don't bullshit yourself on that. Like actually sit down for 3 hours. Give yourself 3 hours. Yeah. Don't have your notes available.
Okay.
Yeah. But you guys will be fine.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
I had a question.
Like that.
Who?
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry.
Can you hear me?
All right. I guess that's it. Let's
Oh
see.
my God, I'm in the wrong.
Stop share.
I had a question.
Oh, he's sorry.
Hi Maya, would you like to ask your question? I can't hear you though.
Yeah.
Can you put it in the chat? Sorry. When you hook up to this thing, it gets rid of the volume. So if you don't mind, can I post these questions? Well, I mean, I recorded this, so I'll get it posted on YouTube and I'll have a link so you can look at them. I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's like kind of hard to format everything nicely and post them. And also like, I don't know, just being honest with you, I'll probably just end up posting them on the recording instead of on my courses. Just wondering how detailed we should know the anemias because for slides included causes and specific. You should know the causes and
Did you say that one was good or bad?
like folic acid deficiency might cause such and such. I think it's pernicious.
And because of that, I can't add you.
Yeah, I mean, it can be as specific as the midterm questions. It's just going to be less. There are going to be fewer of those questions. If you know what I mean. I'm sure you do. Yeah. The subtypes, I'm not sure about the subtypes, but like, yeah. Aplastic anemia, maturation failure anemia. Okay, excellent. If that's all, I'm gonna end it here. So thank you for coming, guys.
Okay, good. Can
And
you see all the past messages?
best of luck.
Okay.
Bye.
So slides are, yeah, there's like 153 of them.